Welcome to the DJ Storybook, how the COVID-19 has affected our lives, the arts, and beyond. My name is Brian Murphy. Welcome. I'm so glad that you are watching today, everybody. We have this special guest. She has a long list of history in dance and performing, and she is a writer. Gavin Larson. She worked with Alberta Ballet, the Pacific Northwest Ballet, the Oregon Ballet Theater, Ballet Conservatory. She works at the Ballet Conservatory of Asheville, and she is a freelance writer at DanceMedia LLC. Before I have her a chance to talk, I want to have a quote that she wrote about, and I want her to maybe expand on that, and we can create this dialogue. Hi, Gavin.
Hi.
This is really important in our time right now. So, quote unquote, a body is an indispensable companion for a mind, both in quarantine and out, end quote. An essay by Elizabeth Kendall. Gavin, you wrote about this in your Facebook feed, and I want you to expand on that.
I'd love to. I felt really energized when I read that essay by Elizabeth Kendall in the New York Times. First of all, Elizabeth is someone that I've known since I was a teenager. We met when I was a student at the Pacific Northwest Ballet School, and she was there actually assisting one of our guest teachers who was Russian, because Elizabeth is fluent in Russian and she's a dance historian as well as a writer, and she'd done extensive research and history and spent a lot of time in Russia and was fluent in the language and very, very well versed in the tradition of Russian ballet. Anyway, so that's how we met, and we've stayed in touch over the years. And I've read a lot of what she's written, and she's not only a beautiful writer and very, very smart person. The way she links the experience of just a human being's place walking through this world and that of a dancer, I find especially interesting. And so I didn't know this piece that she had written for the Times was going to be there until I saw it that morning and thought, oh, wow, Elizabeth has a piece in the Times. That's awesome. And I read it. The piece is really about her experience in the 1970s living in downtown New York and trying to be a modern dancer and the modern dance scene. And that, that was like the heyday boom years of development of modern dance. It was really big stuff going on and lots of people getting involved. It was a really exciting time. And she also linked her experience of getting into the dance world with that of what was going on in the city, just as a city, and the society and the culture of New York at the time. And then she had that line about the body being an indispensable companion. And that really hit me because in some of my own writing, I was trying to get at that exact sentiment, and I hadn't hit on the right wording for it. And what to me that means is that we're all dancers, whether or not we've trained formally or not. I really do truly believe that every human being is a dancer in their soul and in their heart. We all have a rhythm. Every step you take, every heartbeat is a rhythm, and we move through life on a daily basis to that rhythm. And to ignore it, I think, is to a person's detriment. I think, in North America, our society kind of breeds out artistic life in a dance way, in a physical way. We emphasize sports and pop culture. I mean, dance as a way of life is not part of our daily life, right. And it should be, in my opinion. And so I think that I wish for all of us that we could walk through life, dancing through life. That doesn't mean, doing your steps and your tandis and your grand jetés down the sidewalk, but...
Oh, wait, it's not? Are you sure?
It could be. I doubt that.
That's right. I would love to do it on the street. There's nothing like doing more tandis down the street and doing more jetés, but yeah. In fact, more people are doing that now, probably than ever.
Probably, because they don't have a studio to go to, right?
That's right. Gavin, I actually would agree with you. I believe we all have an internal rhythm, and I believe that we all, if we really let loose with it, we can find that joy, because we're moving constantly. We're always
Right.
moving. That's what we're doing. So, and we're dancing in our soul, and there's beautiful. There's a beautiful feeling about that.
There is.
You
There
know.
is.
So yeah, you've been performing for a long time, and you became a writer. Now, is this something that came about after you performed? Was this something that you developed while you were with these different companies?
It came about after I stopped. My father is a writer and my mother was a book editor. And so, literary background in my family. And as a school, I was, kind of enjoyed writing essays and assignments and stuff, but I never thought about it as something I wanted to do later. But then when I retired from dancing in 2010, just organically, I really suddenly felt compelled to not lose my experiences. And one day I was like, within the first year or two after I'd stopped, I was teaching in the Oregon Ballet Theater School right after I stopped performing. And I was leaving the studio one day and I happened to look in at a studio and the company was rehearsing a ballet that I had done, previously. And I thought, oh man, remember that? Oh my gosh, I remember exactly what that felt like, that part that they're doing. And I went home and I wrote it out just for the moment. And that turned into this essay. And, one thing led to the other. And I just kind of, as a memory hit me that I wanted to distill, I would just write a couple pages about it or 3 pages about it. So that was kind of going on. And then I was the children's ballet master for OBT also. And we went on tour to South Korea to stage the Nutcracker. And I was in charge of teaching the Korean children Balanchine's Nutcracker. So it was this wild experience, really, really amazing. And I thought, you know what, I want to write about this because this is really, it's incredible. And so I pitched it to Dance Teacher magazine. And they said, hey, yeah, we'd love to hear about that. So I wrote it up and they published it. And then the next year we went back and did the tour again. And this time I wrote about it for Point magazine. And I guess they liked what I did because they started giving me assignments on different topics. And so I started generating this stream of articles for Dance Teacher, Dance Spirit, and Point. And that has continued on over the years. So it's been like 10 years now I've been doing that. So that's kind of how it organically developed.
Well, congratulations with that. And I'm glad that you're able to do it. So here we are in COVID, right? And well, before I get there though, I'm kind of curious, if I was an audience member to watch you as a performer, how would I characterize you as a performer?
I would like you to characterize me as soulful. And actually that's something that was one of the biggest compliments I received from someone else. And they actually didn't even tell me that directly. They told their companion who then told me, but I said, she's a really soulful dancer. And to me, I was like, yes, I am, because, I'm not going to lie. I was not the most flamboyant technician. I wasn't the one who was going to do like 32 triple fouettes and whatever. But I think what I had was soul, and I think people saw that and it resonated with them. And so that's what I would hope.
We could talk I had a feeling, Gavin, we could talk about dancing and the career and for hours, for a long time, because
Yeah.
I think that we could probably find some similarities and some feelings about performing, about where dance has come the last 30 years or so. It's changed. And
Yeah.
I think that I will say this, and you may agree or think the same, is I feel very fortunate to be, I started in my late 80s and still to be performing today. And I feel very fortunate that I started at that time, because it was a very soulful time. It was a time when teachers told you not to put a wall between you and the audience. That's what they said. So my technique came later because I was like, wah! Right? So I think that's that people sense when you are giving your soul to them.
I agree.
So get into your writing now. So does that translate into your writing? So are you as soulful? Do you feel, when you read it, do you feel that same sense of giving? than you as a writer than you do as a performer?
I do, absolutely, I do. And it really has been a way for me to continue performing because I actually don't perform anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I officially retired 10 years ago from the ballet company, and I continued doing a few little more contemporary things after that, but it petered out. And now I've got a lot of kind of ongoing issues, body issues, and I don't really perform anymore. But I perform when I teach and I perform when I write. I really do. And, in a way, writing is like dancing because you don't have to use your voice. You don't have to make any noise. You can just put it out there on paper or on the computer, and people will read it, and you don't have to like get their response even right away. So in a way, it's like a lot like being on stage. There's still that buffer between you and the audience, a little bit of a gulf, but you can be brave. You can lay it all out there and not be shy. And that's always been why I felt brave on stage. And so I think, putting words down on paper that feel like they're coming from my soul, I'm able to do it with bravery because I just tell myself it's like a performance, just do it.
Oh, this has been great here, and I wanted to get into what's going on now.
Okay.
And I think I told you before we even became on this interview, I want to talk about what our responsibility as artists are. From a young artist to older artist. I do, like I told you, I feel that as we grow as artists, our responsibilities change. Now you've been a professional ballet dancer, and now you are a freelance writer. Where's that responsibility lie in your mind about what's going on now?
I think artists, we do have a huge responsibility right now to not stop. Even though like everything has been taken away from us, our routines, our structures, our training, our theaters, our performances. I mean, I'm super lucky as a writer that has not been taken away or affected in any way. Just our topic has shifted. But I mean, for performers, the thing to do, our responsibility is to use the restrictions we're given to become even more creative. Restrictions and structure breed creativity in everything, in choreography, in composition, in writing, in life. And this is like the perfect example of that. We've never had more restrictions than we have right now. And I really think it can breed great new ideas, great opportunities, and in fact, capitalize on a trend that was already happening that I think big organizations and classical was resisting.
Yeah.
And that is the digital era. And now there's nothing else but digital. And new performance venues, outdoors, not the big theater where you have to sit in a seat and watch. This generation of people craves interactivity and personalization and the ability to mold their experience. And this is the time to do that. And we're forced to do it. So I think as artists, our responsibility is to embrace it, not shy away from it. And again, be brave.
Well said. Actually, I think that this project was based on what happened. I don't think I would have done this project otherwise. And I have one last question. You've been probably talking to all kinds of artists and dancers and people the last 3 or 4 months, probably a lot more than people that I have. And I'm kind of curious, what is your general feel of the art community?
It's mixed. I have talked to several dancers who just feel despondent and like ready to give up, frankly. And that scares me because we risk losing a lot of talent. And so every time I come across someone like that and I talk to them, I do my best to talk them back from the ledge. That's one extreme. And then the other flip side I see is, like I said, like the extreme creativity. And that's super exciting. People not just sitting back and waiting for it to pass so we can get back to normal, because we're never going to get back to normal. We're never going to go back to the way things were. I really believe that. And so, I mean, I think there's more people in our field that are seizing the moment to make opportunity make their own opportunities than the other. But when come across someone who just feels like I can't do this, it's too much, I just do my best to give them a pep talk and rally the troops.
It's important. Actually, Gavin,
Yeah.
that's something that I'm hoping when they watch this and they listen to what you just said, and just if they have that moment where they're, I'm going to quit, this is not the time to make extreme changes. We all, it could be cliche, but we're all in it, really are. We
We really are.
really are. There's, right?
Yeah. I mean, to me, like quitting now would be like selling when the stock market's down. That's what everyone says now. Don't
You're
do it.
right. Yes, exactly right. You've lost all this
You're
money. I'm just going to sell it anyways.
gonna
It's
be out of
true.
the game when things pick up. You don't
Correct.
want that.
That's actually a good way to finish this interview. So I actually, Gavin, this was a pleasure. I'm really glad that we talked and we got to meet. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ryan. It's been a real pleasure for me too.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. So this was Gavin Larson. Please go on our Facebook page. You got to read what she writes. She's got one particular. Remind everybody of that essay. Right, who the essay is from.
Okay, the writer is Elizabeth Kendall, and her piece was in the New York Times. And oh gosh, I couldn't tell you the title of it now, but I'll link to it. I'll put it up on my Facebook page again. I'll relink to it.
But before we get off this here, I wanted everybody to know where we can see your stuff. I mean, if I was like somebody who just watched this and said, "Who is this Gavin Larson?" How would I find your stuff?
Well, honestly, if you just go to Point Magazine and Google my name, you'll come up with a list of all the articles I've written for Point, and there's several there, as well as Dance Spirit, Dance Teacher, but the majority of them have been for Point Magazine. So I'd say go to the Point Magazine website or their Facebook page and just Google my name on that, or search my name there, and you'll come up with all my articles.
There we go.
Yeah.
Well, thank you everybody for joining. Gavin, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. And everybody have a good day. All right. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye-bye.